This is CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast, with George Dubinsky, Joel Lindstrom, and Sean, the CRM Hobbit Tabor.
This episode of CRM Audio is sponsored by Alexa CRM. WordPress powers more than 25% of all the websites on the internet and is the number one choice for blogs, websites, and portals because it's open source, simple to use, reliable, and extendable. Dynamics CRM has become a de facto standard in sales, marketing, customer service, and industry solutions. Now they can work together thanks to the Dynamics CRM WordPress plugin built with love by the Alexa CRM team. Capture forms, engage your users and customers, all without writing any code. Control your site in WordPress, keeping your data in CRM. To build the plugin, Alexa CRM has created an open-source Dynamics CRM PHP toolkit, unlocking the world of Dynamics for PHP developers. Download your 30-day trial from alexacrm.com/plugin and instantly create a portal by connecting your CRM and WordPress site. We thank Alexa CRM for their sponsorship of CRM Audio.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Ready to send my children back to school? I'm getting ready to place my annual $250 order to Amazon for school supplies, and so I know that I'll be getting recommendations for pink erasers and scissors for the next 6 months.
Exactly, and don't forget your.
What do we got on the news beat, Mr. News Hobbit?
Well, one of the first things we'll talk about is there's a new ideas portal for CRM that not only covers CRM, but Dynamics marketing, social engagement, and Parature. It's kind of like, now I can't remember the name of it, the old feedback sites. Yes, thank you, Connect. It's structured very much like Connect, but it doesn't require you to be part of a feedback program or anything like that.
But they did copy the existing Connect content.
That's what it looks like, because I was surprised to see as much content as quickly as it went up. And there are still some, which I thought was kind of funny, there's still some suggestions from people like Shan MacArthur, who I would think has a little bit more control over whether or not these things happen now. But, and oddly enough, it's still under review. So
what was the decision, I'm wondering, to go with that versus user voice? Because all the other stuff, like I get on these calls with the OneDrive, or not OneDrive, with the OneNote team, and they use user voice.
Is user voice owned by Microsoft?
I think it is. It's
at least they invested
used.
into it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it seems like...
I'll tell you what was it. From the look of it, let me just confirm, but I'd say it runs on portals.
Okay.
That would be my guess. Yeah. What I do, I usually look into the source and sort of look for familiar relative URLs, and it does look like it came through from the portals.
I guess my question is not so much what's it built on or whether it's user voice or Connect or whatever, but my question is what results are we going to see from it? Because that was the thing that really I think did connect in some ways, was not that it was kludgy technology. It was that it got the reputation of the classic closed will not fix.
Right.
kind of thing,
right.
Where 1 year at MVP Summit, we had a very feisty discussion about suggestions being just marked "closed will not fix," and I believe Mitch Milam printed up some buttons for everybody that just said "closed will not fix." So, and I mean, Microsoft has changed their reputation. Like the Windows Insider program has been very successful. In other technologies, they've been very responsive, and so I have hopes that if this is successful, I have hopes that it will be better received than Connect will. But you've got to show some results and show that you're actually actually responding and listening to people's suggestions.
Well, and they're the little icons for telling you what the status is of your request. I'm seeing under review, launched, and then there's a red one that I think used to be the closed will not fix. Now it's called by design.
That's better.
Yeah.
So guys, I think just before you start putting your feedback in, I think we should review some of the guidelines. And George, I think this one may apply to you. Please do not be abusive towards other people or their ideas.
So don't rip on Neil when he suggests something.
Does it say anything about plagiarizing other people's ideas?
Post your ideas and comments in a respectful and constructive way. Don't be the guy who says, this sucks or this is terrible or I'm dying. Be respectful and constructive. And I think that's a good suggestion because, when you are, and I've had this even within my own company, somebody in management says, I can't believe this doesn't work. This works this way. And, it's like, this is like the most burning, important, mission critical feature, but you got to look at the big picture. And a lot of times it really isn't.
Right.
And if you're the person who is always the building is on fire or the boy who cried wolf, nobody's going to take you seriously. If you come across an offensive comment, report the post. Do not engage.
Where are you reading this?
It's on crmideas.dynamics.com. There's posting guidelines. Oh, this one is I'm a violator of this one. Do not post any petitions or polls. Does that mean we can't post somewhere else to say please vote for this?
It's actually spelled out in the previous one. Do not post comments asking people to vote on another idea. Oh, that's cross ideas. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we could still post in various forums on Twitter, please vote for my idea.
Yeah, but I don't think I think they're saying don't comment on one suggestion to cross comment. Before we leave from the ideas program, in the FAQ, does anyone call it a FAQ, or is it always FAQ?
I go with FAQ because depending on your dialect, it's very close to some other
words. Yes, that's true. Okay, there is in the FAQ. There's a question. Why hasn't anyone from Microsoft responded to my submission? And the answer is Microsoft Dynamics product development teams strive to respond to suggestions submitted on the CRM Ideas site within approximately, again, another modifier, within approximately 1 month of submission.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. So they do give a deadline. That's improvement because previously on Connect we didn't have any commitment to a time frame at all.
Yeah,
that sounds to me like a commitment, so which is good.
What would be nice, and I don't know if you guys would agree. It would be nice to understand a kind of a threshold to understand whether or not it would even be considered. Because there's some of these that are over 750 likes. What does a valid foundation of feedback? When does that turn into something that is on their radar? You know what I mean?
Look, as upcoming elections in United States show, popular doesn't mean good idea.
Oh, I agree.
So.
And I'm not saying that they do it. I'm just saying when are they actually looking?
No. They what it does. Look, they've got their own plans. Obviously, CRM development or Dynamics 365 development is not driven by that site. It's not driven by user suggestions. It's not a public forum. They have the plans. They have feature sets. They've got people who are working on those feature sets who collect the ideas from all the variety of sources, including, for example, one of the privileges of being MVP is to participate in the group discussions, private NDA group discussions that talk about upcoming features, right? So, and that's opportunity to provide some input into those features. This is the opportunity to provide input. So PM or program manager who's responsible for specific feature would use this site as an additional argument, perhaps, for bringing a specific feature into the fold, implementing it, for example, as soon as possible and so forth, saying, hey, look, I thought it's a good idea and people agree with me. But I don't think it's necessarily you're going to see correlation between, 500 votes must implement. It doesn't work like that. I don't think so.
Oh yeah, no. I'm thinking more of when because it said like in the FAQ that they'll respond within a month, but clearly there's a lot of these that are just going to be noise, right?
A response can be changing the status to in consideration or something like that.
Right.
The response could be one of the statuses. You can drop the filter and check what the status is, but one of the statuses would be, what's the exact wording for it? Status not planned.
I'm looking through I searched for Lindstrom to find my suggestions in there. There's a number that I put in here, some of which I didn't remember. This one that I was 2 years ago where I suggested allow tracking of emails outside of Outlook. I'm going to take credit for the folder-based tracking feature right there.
Well done.
And here's another good one, and this is still a good idea. When you switch to 2013 and later, you can't actually open a note form. In 2011 and earlier, you could open the form, so if someone wanted to apply a workflow or something like that, you could. Or if you wanted to reassign the note, you could. You can't do that. That one has 25 votes. That should be a strong contender.
Well, auto numbering feature has 447 votes. I don't see it's being done.
Yep. All right. So yeah, I like the look of this, and again, hopefully these will go somewhere. The Parature has 2 suggestions.
They're the same thing.
You should vote those guys up just to make them feel good.
Oh yeah, they get all excited. No, just vote one of them. Since they're the same, only vote one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one. There's one
they're
that
the same thing.
There was one that was submitted by in the CRM ideas. One submitted by George 4 years ago, and 2 years ago. So it took 2 years, but 2 years ago there was a response telling George that it is not in their immediate roadmap.
What was that suggestion for?
Plugins for service appointment entities support all messages except search and validate. Enabling this message enables additional scheduling scenarios and workarounds for some of the limitations of the internal scheduling engine.
So 1 month turnaround is going to be an improvement from 2 years.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll take the 1 month. But
this is a perfect example where this one is a perfect example where things sort of people who designed the original features, they kind of left the team, and it was very low on the priority list, scheduling in general. Mm-hmm. And once the field services came in, it became a priority. So we will see the problem that this specific item was trying to solve is to kind of engage your own FreeBSD mechanism. And we're going to see something coming up. I'm not sure when, maybe fall release, maybe later, but there will be some good developments in scheduling area in CRM to support, new entities like bookable resources that you can't use them outside of field services or project services just yet. But my understanding is that there will be the day will come when we should be able to define our own bookable resources and use new scheduling engine. So, and that problem will be solved indirectly, though. And it was low on priority list for obvious reasons.
George can take credit for that feature, thanks to his suggestion 4 years ago.
Okay, so yeah, the next direct CRM bit of news, CRM 2011 is reaching end of lifecycle support.
It reached end of lifecycle support 2 weeks ago, and what this means is if you're a laggard and still haven't upgraded and haven't seen the reason in the last 3.5 releases to upgrade, this may push you over. Because basically what this means is there's not going to be any more enhancements on there. 2011 works with, I believe, the most recent versions of SQL and Windows. So, you're not going to be SOL yet, but you will shortly. So if you're still on 2011, it's time to upgrade.
And it still currently is in, it has through 2021, it has extended support. What was it exactly called?
Yeah, it's extended
support. Yeah, extended support end date. But I'm not clear on what that would actually give you outside of just they're going to look at. That doesn't mean they're actually still testing through it for bugs, correct?
No, they're not. They're not fixing any bugs or anything. They're not going to. They're not going to be enhancing it anyway. They're not going to be testing it with new versions of Windows. What that means is basically
unless there is a security breach. Security is still fixed, but it's so unlikely that CRM has any security due to architecture that it has any security gaps that I would say the probability of any new fixes is remote.
Right.
Basically means you can pay Microsoft large sums of money to take technical support calls to which they will say you need to upgrade.
Right.
Look, that works not only for Microsoft, it works for partner hosted as well. For example, we have customers who are still on 2011 and have been sitting there comfortably. But what's been happening as customers migrate to the newer versions, particularly we've seen a number of customers jumped when 2016 on premises was released. So we host in 2016 for customers and we see a number of them migrating. So there will be a point in time where hosting for the remaining customers will become unprofitable for us or not even break-even exercise. At that point, we will send notifications to them saying that, look, you either pay your own way, so we will increase prices to that, or move. I'm not sponsoring people on 2011.
Right.
So, interestingly, by now you've seen the tip 701. I've been bitten by leaving old components behind. So when you have components, external one, in this particular case was the email router, right? And turns out 2015 was a godsend build because it was working for all CRMs from 2013 to 2016. It was working fine until my customer got upgraded to update 1 online. And then it stopped. And they got, you've got pending email.
Those are always
waiting. Yeah. But yeah, the fix was to upgrade, but I'm saying that it's been working for a year and a half probably, and I didn't even bother looking because it's running single instance for number of customers, and it just works. Very reliable, fine, but it just stopped working for one of them. That's why it was difficult to identify. But I'm saying that, you may have components. Once you start upgrading, you will have a number of components that will require some TLC as part of the upgrade. Don't forget about those third-party integrations, email router, this and that, and obscure Windows services written by developer because he didn't know better that run and perform some daily maintenance or push some records somewhere. So you will have those components left behind, and so it will be a challenge. And so the longer you postpone it, the more challenging the upgrade is going to be. And now it's an extra incentive.
We actually got two cloud-based stories here. The first off, Microsoft's Azure cloud revenue doubled in the last quarter, showing more focus on the cloud. That it's really driving a lot of the decisions at Microsoft, and as we've seen the past few months. But on top of that, Oracle bought NetSuite to move into SaaS, where they have typically not played very well. And what was funny, looking at the article, I don't, if you didn't know this, Larry Ellison actually owned 40% of NetSuite.
So he's just basically cashed in because the share purchase was in cash.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so he took like 4 point something billion.
Yeah. It's not bad.
In cash.
That's
a nice way to cash in.
And then he probably got a bonus for the deal on the Oracle side. So.
Now, explain it to me. We probably should get Leon on the show to explain this mechanics of the share market to us. But NetSuite been consistently losing money over the past, I don't know how many quarters. I bothered to look, like 3 years. For 3 years in a row, they've been losing money. How can you put value into the company that's just losing money? How you?
Well, there's a
how you
quote
value
in the
this
article
company.
that said NetSuite had a net loss of about $125 million in 2015, with its largest operating expense being sales and marketing, which is 65% of total expenses. So you can imagine, given Oracle's sales and marketing, they're going to eliminate some of those redundancies and take the core business and be able to squeeze profit out of that as you can. It sounds like they just weren't very effective sales and marketing, because if you're sinking 65% of your total expenses and you have a net loss of $125 million, that's not good.
I was just reflecting on these double figures for Azure. I was trying to find the same figures for AWS. What I found is revenue growth. So for Azure, it was 100%, right? So doubled. AWS hovering around 70-75% in the past couple quarters. Azure is growing faster than AWS. But then, by the same token, AWS has bigger chunk of the market. So I don't know how that translates to absolute figures. If you've got one employee and the next year you've got 5, right, you just grew like 400%, right? But if you have 100 employees and now you have 200, you grew up you doubled, but in absolute numbers it's bigger. So here you go. That's interesting. So Microsoft has a long way to go. I'm just looking at the article, which says basically we have no idea how Microsoft and Google ever going to catch up with AWS.
Yeah, or I guess the question is, though, do they have to?
No, I suppose they don't.
They're really, AWS is used by so many different things, so many different consumer.
Okay, look, let's start with the important thing. It's used by Netflix, okay?
Right.
Let's get the important things out of the way. But imagine all the Netflix content is on AWS, all of it. This is mind-boggling how much storage you would need for that.
Oh, yeah, and that's why Jeff Bezos is now the third richest man in the world.
Is he?
Yeah, as of yesterday.
Ooh. I've read somewhere that Larry pocketed cash, but his net worth actually decreased. How bizarre it sounds, but with the NetSuite deal. So that was a really interesting side effect of the transaction. But hey, look.
Did you read the articles about Jeff Bezos' extra role in the new Star Trek film? He plays an alien, and
so you're saying he plays himself, right?
Yeah. He basically plays himself.
Because when I look at people like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk and what's not, Oh, that was funny. I read that it was on Russian news site or something. Someone posted a joke saying, "Oh, what we need is a Russian Elon Musk," and someone answered saying that if we had Elon Musk in Russia, he would still be serving term for PayPal.
He came with a security entourage
Nine
of
limos.
9 limos for his appearance in the new Star Trek movie.
Exactly.
He had a bunch of security guards.
Redundancy. It's all about redundancy in the cloud. It's a regional limos. They just happen to be in one region.
All right, so let's. I think that's the end of our news.
Yep.
I wanted to give a shout out to the CRM chart guy. He had my favorite tweet of last week, where he said that he had a productive day and that he had listened to 5 episodes of CRM audio. I thought that was very impressive, and I don't know if I could do that, listen to 5 hours of us, but he said he got caught up. And apparently it did make him very productive because he also published a very, very good guide to charts in CRM, kind of his manifesto, if you will. It has complete guide to the chart editor and guide to the XML format for charts in CRM. I'll put a link in the post, but apparently listening to our podcast increases your productivity.
That is outstanding. I think we're like his personal muse.
Exactly. We inspired him.
And, right now I'm looking at his Twitter profile. He has 999 followers. I want to see someone out there in our audience put him over the top. He's a good guy.
Are you following him, Sean?
Yes, I'm following him.
All right. Yeah, let's get him to 1,000.
Let's get him to 1,000. Let's do it.
Hold on. I should be following him. It's if I'm not, that would be silly of me. That's me, and I'm checking. Keep talking, guys.
All right. So, one thing doing this weekend, and I don't know if it was because I went to see Jason Bourne or whatever, but I've been inspired to trim my social footprint. Just realized I had like 8 to 10 years in Twitter and Facebook, and just all that stuff out there, that doesn't really do me any good. So I looked into it, find ways how could I trim that down. I found some really cool tools that I've been using. One is a app called Expire, Xpire, and it's an Android or iOS app. And what it does is it lets you bulk delete your previous Twitter feed. So for those of you who maybe were looking to read my summary of the 2009 CRM-UG Summit, or my excited posts about the announcement of the CRM marketplace, sadly I have now deleted those. I deleted everything up to 2016. I also found a really cool Chrome browser plugin called the Facebook Post Manager, and what it does is you go into Facebook to your activity feed, and you know how you can click over on the left side, there's the filter for posts or likes or whatever, and you go there, and then this plugin, you choose the year, and you choose either hide, delete, or unlike, and you can in bulk unlike everything you liked that year, delete or hide the posts from that year. I haven't decided what I'm going to delete, but I deleted everything from 2008 to 2010. Because my thought.
What, you were embarrassment to your family in that period of time?
It's just those posts. Nobody's really looking at them, and it's like they don't do me any good. I can see pictures or things like that, but it's just a very freeing feeling, and you don't have to delete it all, but it's just something that if you do want to do that, to have a little bit more control over it, especially Facebook, there's no real easy way to do it other than post by post. And I'm just saying this is a very useful tool if you want to join me and lighten your social footprint.
But now, what are you going to do when you don't have that event that you casually went to 6 years ago come up in your time hop or your time, whatever they call it, so that you could retweet it or repost it or share to Google? How are you going to be able to do that?
I'm not. I'm going to go. I guess I will get by the way that we got by for years without that.
You talk as if
no. I don't think I'm going to delete all my history, but it's just especially the first couple of years where I first was using Facebook and didn't have clearly defined rules like I do now for as far as the way I post or don't post. And here's the other interesting thing is I'm getting a lot more likes, not likes, but people following me on Twitter since I cut back the number of tweets I do to about one every week or two.
Really?
So apparently people like me more when I don't talk as much.
Or maybe it's just more impactful. Maybe they've taken you for granted.
That one tweet in February was really impactful.
That's right.
Anyway, I just like the idea of having power tools for if you do, say you change jobs. I'm not changing jobs, but say you do change jobs or you change role at your job, and the persona that you had on Twitter doesn't really fit what you're doing now. But also, I found it interesting reviewing my old tweets. For example, in 2010, I had several tweets where I retweeted stuff about the CRM marketplace, and we all know what happened with that. So that's kind of a reminder to not mindlessly retweet technology stuff, without seeing how it pans out.
That is a good tip. That's for sure. I had this is a side item, but I had an interesting interaction with a customer dev team who did not know some of the tools that are out there. And this goes back to when we were talking about, I think it was 3 or 4 episodes ago, when we were talking about XRM Toolbox. Might have been 5 episodes ago. But we were talking about just simply updating all the views for a particular entity. And we were finding that it was taking quite a long time for this to get completed. So we met, and I asked, how are you going about doing this? And they went through the process, and they were manually doing it. They have a spreadsheet, and they had all the columns, and they're going one view by one view by one view by one view. And then I talked about XRM Toolbox, and we showed them the tool, and their eyes lit up. And it kind of took me aback, because it is something to... Some of these tools have been basically in our consciousness for so long that they're kind of just assumed. But it's always good, I think, to not make the assumption people know about the tools, right? Especially if you're dealing with a client dev team. And those kind of shortcuts, they can mean a lot to the productivity of that team. And it was just a kind of a neat experience. And sure enough, those views were done in about an hour after that. So instead of 2 days. So just a comment about the plethora of tools that are out there. It's good to not assume everybody knows about them,
And always,
do we have the ultimate tool list?
I don't think we do. We do, and I think that would be a good thing for us to curate.
I think
just called
I'm
the contents of the
page.
XRM Toolbox.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now that the ribbon workbench
but
is
there's
in
still some of the good tools outside of XRM Toolbox, like good workflow libraries and things like that. I think it would be worth creating a kind of, I don't know where. We had this wiki, but CRM wiki, but it kind of cooled off a bit. So maybe we should start on CRM Tip of the Day, have a page that dedicated to tools and links and resources, just in general.
Like Chart Guy's Chart Editor and XML overview. That'd be
I
a
like
great
that.
resource.
Have a page for the essential tools.
Yeah, and it's
tools,
also good for just new consultants that you're working with. To give them that lay of the land. I don't know. It just came up in I thought it was an interesting little tidbit.
Speaking of tools, George, do you have a tool of the fortnight?
Yes, I do indeed. I've been using it for quite some time, and I've seen not resurfacing, but this tool has been getting a bit higher profile recently with all the breaches on the public websites and public accounts. So it is a website done by a really good Aussie developer, Troy Hunt. He's known security expert, and the site is called Have I Been Pwned? So you just put your email into the site and we'll tell you if your email is contained in any of the known security breaches.
Okay.
So the URL is, you put the link, but basically it is what it is. Have I been pwned? It's pwned.com. So it's very good idea to check your email. You can actually get notifications if your email is detected in one of the breaches, newer breaches like Ashley Madison and things like that. But I'm absolutely hats off to Troy because he now has 1.3 billion pwned accounts in his database. And it's a free service, and it's really if you're in one of these, go ahead, pick up Password Manager, any of the existing ones, recommended ones, and just use it. Change your passwords, don't reuse passwords, and so forth.
So now he's also got a huge database of people's emails too. Because I was reminded of the story of CNBC today did a website about check to see if your password is secure, and it was an insecure site. So they basically had people type their passwords in, and it was stored in a Google spreadsheet somewhere, and hopefully it's not something like that.
I wouldn't expect that something coming from Troy would be, in a spreadsheet format, not for 1.3 billion accounts. And look, if you're into security or kind of curious about security, read his blog. His posts are awesome, and I think he's right now a presenter at NDC Sydney. So. It's really interesting. I don't quite understand how does it work, but NDC was standing for North Developer Conference. It started in Northern Europe, so now it made its way to Sydney. So it's right now. It's on right now. So I may try to get in there tomorrow, day after tomorrow, for a couple talks.
Have you? I checked out my main emails, and the ones I got were LinkedIn and Adobe, which I think are two of the more common ones that I heard people were getting on there. And I had changed my password. Since those were so. I didn't have any current ones.
Yeah, nor did I. And the one that did get pwned was it had a MySpace. I've never been on MySpace, which is weird. So it must be some plug-in. But
no, not necessarily. I can take your email and try to register with your email. Never send the confirmation, but you will be in the database.
Okay.
There was that time you got
Right,
drunk
so,
and got on MySpace.
Right.
I've got strategy for dubious websites like MySpace. I have my private domain, and I just put any email, any username in front of @ I feel like I can put MySpace
Right.
right. So when the breach comes through, I know where the breach is from.
Right.
If it gets cracked, then I know. Oh, okay, that's where it's leaked.
Wait,
Right. The other
only for
the way I
this
have been
website.
doing that, and I kind of got away from this, but my Gmail address, they've got the thing with Gmail where you can do the plus sign, where you can put, for example, my eBay was.
Have
yeah,
you ever
no, I
used
did.
it
I did. It
successfully?
works actually, but you can do. You say you're John Smith, you can do John Smith plus eBay at gmail.com, and it will do that. And it's kind of a way to tag it, but it's also a way to make kind of a unique email address for a site you log into.
And you can put
Yeah,
rules
exactly,
on those,
exactly.
right?
So yeah, so if you put
So you can put them
it
into
basically
folders
creates
or
a
label.
folder, but
in
one thing I
Gmail.
liked about it is that way you can create kind of a unique email address that's only used by that site. So then if you start getting emails, from someplace else, that's where it came from.
interesting. But looking at these pwn websites, there are some funny, and I'm not talking about the grown-up ones. There was 432,943 pwned accounts from acne.org, like face acne.
And some of the biggest ones are government sites. And what are you going to do about that if IRS
Yeah.
gets hacked or something?
Yeah, but that's
Hey, look, don't discard government sites. Some businesses been around. This morning, been built on government still using old technologies. Like this morning, I was reading an article about the guy running floppydisk.com
I saw that
or something
too.
like
I think that was on the MVP Facebook page. They had a video about him.
Yes. The guy basically purchases used or brand new floppy disks, cleans them up, relabels them, and sells. And it's still a good, viable business apparently, because a lot of agencies, a lot of old programs, they still require floppy disks. I loved his comment right at the end when they said, "Hey, this business is not going to be around forever, is it?" And the guy looked and said, "Well, I'm not planning to be around forever either." So, but it's really interesting. Yeah, like the other day, someone mentioned that some nuclear codes are still on floppies.
wow. Well, I guess
So don't give Trump any floppy disks.
don't do it.
Well, you know what? The funny thing is, I have some floppy disks that are, probably early '90s, and they work more dependably than CD-ROMs I burned in mid '90s. Usually, if I have a burnable CD-ROM, I test. Half the time, it doesn't work anymore. Where
interesting.
floppy disks generally do.
Interesting. Interesting. But I've got good use for old CD-ROMs. Remember, there used to be subscriptions, like MSDN subscription. You had folders and folders of disks. Turns out that they're really good creating a very interesting craft and daycare business. So I donated all of mine into, when my kids were going to daycare years ago, I just donated all of those collections. They had fun playing
So they
with
make
them.
stuff out of them. That's cool.
Because they're
Yeah,
shiny.
That's cool.
Yeah. They're also helpful if you
So they do like lampshades and things like
Yeah.
that, disco balls.
Neat.
if you have some of the birds around here, like swallows as well. If you have, some of them will like dive bomb your porch or whatever, and if you hang CDs on, like hang them on there, the reflection will scare them away too.
That's neat. Just from the light, they'll think
Yeah.
it's some.
Yeah, it just
Okay.
it just scares it. Just they don't like it. I think we've run out of topics.
Well, but it's still good information. Good, solid information.
No, I did want to talk about something. The one of the topics I did want to talk about is that Microsoft makes the announcement of Dynamics 365, right? And in the middle of the kind of dead season, right? So, or whatever it is, it's like summer vacation. And then the Oracle kind of does this purchase, and I wonder how much of the Dynamics announcement, speaking frankly, is a fodder. And the reality is that we're not going to see anything substantial for a year.
Yeah, I think so too. It doesn't really mean anything yet, and I still, everything I've seen, even since our episode a few weeks ago, is, it's going to be a bundle. It's going to still be CRM. It's still going to be a thing. And there's the common data model that's kind of a data repository that's going to be in preview. But yeah, I think it's right. And which, for years I've always been astounded at people, Apple, Salesforce with their Salesforce One, which is basically a announcement that didn't really mean anything, or is just kind of putting this idea out there before it's an actual product. And in some ways I think it's good for Microsoft to do that. It also is giving far in advance notification of the direction they're going, so that partners and customers can plan. We did interesting thing is we had the the preview for field service. We were trying to install that into an environment, and it didn't show up in the environment. Basically the properties of the org, like you're supposed to see it there,
Right.
Ready to install. We went to App Source and chose to install it from there, and it installed fine.
And that's after you configured the trial for field service?
No, it was the trial for field service wasn't there, but going to App Source, you can select the trial for field service and choose install to my environment.
Well, that brings up a different note on trial. If you can now say, I want sales, I want service, I want field service, or I want project service, or I can say all of them or none of them. What if you want a couple of them? If you just install, if you install, and I'm asking because I haven't went through all these permutations, but if you choose field service, are you automatically getting sales? Are you automatically getting service? I would assume you're getting service because you're getting field service, so it's going to have cases. But are you going to get opportunities, since the legacy Field 1 had connectivity between an opportunity and a work order?
Right. So you're saying if you don't, like, if you had a basic license or what?
No, if you're setting up a trial, right? If you're a prospective customer,
don't worry about. We talked about this on one of the last episodes. Don't worry about those solutions. They're bad. Don't
yes,
install.
I know they're bad. No, I remember us talking about that, but the UI, the UI looks a little different now. It's
but here's the thing is, though, you still have those orgs. That's basically a managed solution,
right,
hiding those entities, basically. So, yeah, you would still have that. You would still get those pieces. You just, again, don't choose that. Just choose. I want it all.
Yeah. Yeah, which is what I always do anyway. But
because you want it all.
Exactly.
Hold on,
right.
All or nothing.
All or nothing.
No, that was the question.
It's either you get it all, you get nothing, or you get individuals.
Yeah, it is a good question.
No, don't select individuals. I tend to select nothing.
Yeah, it is a good question, because if you had that managed solution for, say, sales only, and then you installed field service that had those entities in it, I'm wondering, with the way that solutions work, would that make those entities appear?
Mm-hmm.
What I kind of suspect that it may render the trial solution, the original trial solution, the crappy one, uninstallable. Right. Because you acquire dependency.
Your assignment, Sean, is to go try that and report back next time.
Well, I am in the process of working on a trial environment to try to port over some modifications I do there to see if I can get it into a POC. So I will report back and let you know what happens.
All right. All right, well, gentlemen, it's been fun.
And, it has indeed.
And welcome to our new sponsor, Alexa CRM.
Thank you, the kind, wise folks at Alexa CRM.
This has been CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast. You can hear previous episodes on our website, crm.audio. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, follow us on Twitter at CRM Audio, or leave us a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CRM podcast. If you have any topic suggestions or questions that you would like for us to answer on a future episode, please drop us an email at voice@crm.audio. Special thanks to Dale Simmons for our theme music. Go check out his website, dalesimmons.com. Please join us next time on CRM Audio.